Well, I don't mind telling you now, driver. I'm a rookie, and I've only been driving for 3 months and 11 days now. When I went in and picked up my preloaded trailer, I messed up. I didn't check the weight on the bills. Then I went over to the truck stop and pumped my truck full of fuel. And guess what? Now I'm over. I'm 80,160 pounds. I don't know what to do about it. I can't afford an overweight fine. I ain't made enough money yet to pay an overweight fine. But I got an idea though. I figured this out on the calculator. Let me run this by you. See if you think this will work. All right. I got 18 tires, right? So I figured if I just let 10 pounds out of each tire, that'd be 180 pounds. I'm only over 160 pounds. So do you think that would make me legal?
Well, I don't know, driver. How far you think you're gonna be going?
I'm going up into Illinois here, and about 350 miles before I get to the scale.
Well, ain't no problem, driver. You probably burn that much fuel off before you get there, don't you think?
Well, oh yeah, I know. I never thought about that. I got another idea though. Let me run this by you. See if you think this will work. I got a button on my dash that says lighter on it. If I push that button in right before I roll across the scale, do you think that would make me way lighter?
Okay, driver. Now I know you put me on. You almost got me there. Hey, by the way, what is your handle there, driver?
Well, they call me Bob, and my handle's Bob, and my name's Bob too. Here, let me say it backwards for you. Bob's. See, it sounds the same forwards or backwards. That's pretty cool, huh? And it spells the same forwards or backwards. It's B-O-B forward and B-O-B backwards. That's way cool, isn't it?
Yeah, Bob, that's way cool if you say so, buddy.
And I bet you can't guess. I bet you can't guess what my last name is.
Yeah. What's your last name there, Bob?
It's Bob's Stats. Bob's Stats, and that's the same deal. Spells the same forwards or backwards, and sounds the same forwards or backwards. Backwards is S-T-A-T-S. That's way cool, isn't it?
Yeah, Bob, I'd say that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool. All right, you got a cool name and a cool handle.
And my initials is B-S.
Well, I might have known that, Bob. That fits you all right.
Do you want to hear how I became a truck driver?
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, you can tell me how you became a truck driver, buddy. Go ahead.
It's pretty sad, really. My Uncle Gus, he was my hero. He was a veteran truck driver for 38 years. Uncle Gus was, and Uncle Gus died right out here on the road. He laid down at the truck stop and went to sleep, and he never woke up. He's down there in Texas, and it was hot and summertime, and his truck ran out of fuel after about three or 4 days, and Uncle Gus, he's a big man anyhow, and he swelled up in that sleeper like a big old toad. And then they had to cut the back out of the sleeper to get Uncle Gus out there. He swelled up so bad, And it's pretty sad. We lost him about 3 or 4 years ago, and then my daddy come to me and about 2 or 3 months after we buried Uncle Gus, and he said, Bob, he said, you know, Uncle Gus bought him a new pair of boots about 2 or 3 months before he died, and it was in pretty good shape, Bob. So we know Uncle Gus was your hero. Used to ride with him when he was a little boy and all. And we decided we'd just keep them boots for you, Bob, and see if someday you might want to become a truck driver and fill Uncle Gus's boots. I said, I don't know, Daddy. That's a pretty tall order, ain't it? And he said, yeah, but Bob, out of respect for Uncle Gus, but Bob, I think you ought to give it a try, you know. I was just working down at the IGA store in the daytime, sacking groceries, you know, and then at night I'd go out there and sell Bibles. I did pretty good. I'd knock on people's doors. I'd say, hi, I'm Bob, the Bible salesman, and you either buy a Bible off of me or I'll read it to you. I did pretty good. I made pretty good money selling Bibles, but then I went to truck driving school and to become a truck driver to fill Uncle Gus's boots. And most of the students they got out in about 10, 12 weeks, but it took me a little longer. You know, I was a little bit slow. You know. And it took me 21 weeks, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Now I ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I ain't no teetotal idiot either, you know. And I got out in 21 weeks, and I got Uncle Gus's boots on right now. I'm trying to fill them. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds like you are, Bob. That's a very touching story there. Hate to hear that your Uncle Gus died like that at the truck stop.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. When I go over and visit my mom and daddy, I just hug them and kiss them for making my life so much simpler and naming me Bob. You know, but it made it easy for me. You know what I'm saying. But they did that on purpose. You know, cause my oldest. My oldest brother, his name's Bub, B-U-B, Bub. My oldest sister, her name's Eve, E-V-E, Eve, and that's the same deal, you know. Spells the same forwards or backwards and sounds the same forwards or backwards, just like me, Bob, the middle one, you know. And then my youngest sister, her name's Sis, S-I-S, Sis. And then my youngest brother, his name's Otto, O-T-T-O, Otto. So it's pretty simple going around our house as far as spelling, saying each other's names, you know. Of course, we call mom M-O-M and dad D-D-A-D, dad, you know. So that's same deal there too, you know. Hey, if you turn mom's name over, it's Wow, W-O-W. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, Bob, that's pretty cool. Sounds like you had a pretty simple childhood there, right?
When I go home next week, when I get home, I gotta get my mom a new parakeet.
A new one? What happened to her old one?
Well, I went home last couple weeks ago, and my mama told me, she said, Bob, she said, Roger, that was her parakeet's name, Roger. She said, Roger's got a mite thin, and he's quit eating, and he's got a mite thin. I said, well, gee whiz, Mom, I'll just call the vet up and see if he knows what's wrong with Roger. So I did, and he said, you bring that bird down here. I probably know just what's the matter with him. I said, what's that? He said his beak's got too long and he can't eat right. So I said, well, so what do we do about that? He said, well, we'll just take a file and shorten his beak up a little bit so he can eat right. I said, well, how much would that cost? And he said about $50 or so. I said, gee whiz, that's more That's more than what Mama give for the bird and the cage, you know. He said, well, that's what I charge. So I said, well, could I just get me a file and to do it myself? He said, well, I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. If you do, you gotta be careful, because if you shorten that beak up too much, when he goes to get a drink of water, he'll drown. I said, what? I said, what? You gotta be kidding me. He said, no, I'm telling you the truth. He'll drown if he's shortening it up too much. I said, okay then. So I went down to Ace Hardware to get a file. Mama didn't have nothing but a fingernail file, and so I told the guy there I needed a medium file to shorten up a parakeet's beak. He said, I'm gonna tell you one thing right now, Bob. You got to be careful, or if you shorten that beak up too much, when he goes to get a drink of water, he'll drown. I said, well, I guess the vet wasn't lying to me, huh? He said, no, he was telling you the truth. So I went over and took that file home and worked out on old Roger. And now when I get home next time, I gotta get my mom a new parakeet.
Well, what did you do, Bob? Did you shorten his beak up too much and make him drown?
No. When I took his head out of the vise, he was dead.
Well, I guess that would do it.
Since we're on the subject of birds, I'll tell you about my cousin Leroy. My cousin Leroy, he's Uncle Gus's oldest son. He's a lifer in the Air Force. He been in there 18 years now. Leroy has, and his daddy, Uncle Gus, told him, he said, now Leroy, when you go out there on the road and out there, get away from home, don't you get above your raising, and no matter how good you get or how much money you make, don't ever get above your raising and forget where you came from. And Leroy never has. Every Christmas he always sends something home to the Stats family. Like last year he was down in South America, and he sent us one of them big blue birds home about a foot tall, had a big hook beak on him, you know. I don't know what kind of bird it was, but he sent us one of them birds home for Christmas. I thought that's pretty nice out of him, don't you?
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Make a good gift, don't you think?
Well, I don't know what kind of bird it was, but it sure was good eating. I'll tell you that.
Now tell me you didn't eat the bird, Bob. You know how much one of those cost?
No, I sure don't.
Well, they sell them in pet shops for about $5,000, Bob.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Well, I guess that's pretty expensive Christmas dinner, huh?
Yeah, you got that right, Bob.
Do you know anything about Canada?
What do you need to know, Bob?
I got a little problem I had up there in Canada, and I thought maybe you might be able to help me. Well, you see, I was up there about two or three weeks ago, and I stopped along the highway because my mama's got a rock garden, you know, a flower bed, and she lines it with rocks, you know, around the outside and stuff. And I pick them up from all different states, you know, about the size of grapefruits or something. And I stopped up there in Canada and got two or three of them big rocks and put them in my toolbox, you know, by the fuel tank here. I was bringing them back, and I guess they showed up on the X-ray when I come through the X-ray up there. And so they pulled me over to the side and wanted to search my truck, you know, and I said, you know, that's fine with me. And so they asked me to wait back there on the dock, you know, and I got this little dog that rides with me, one of them little plastic dogs that bobs his head up and down, you know. His name's Ralph, and I named him Ralph because when I was a little boy, I used to ride to church with an older couple, and they had two of them little dogs in their back glass, you know. And when we was little kids, we used to sit up there in the back seat on our knees and watch them little dogs bob their heads up and down. It was pretty cute, you know. So my cousin Leroy sent me one of them home from Mexico. It didn't cost much, you know. But it had a lot of sentimental value, you know. So anyhow, they wanted to put a dog up, one of them drug dogs up in my truck to search my truck, you know. And I said, well, okay, I guess. But so anyhow, I come back out the truck, and I guess when that dog jumped up in there, Ralph must have bobbed his head up and down, and I looked down, and there wasn't nothing on the floor there but a pile of plastic. That dog had grabbed Ralph, and he had chewed him plumb up. I mean, it looked like he went through a chipper, you know, a wood chipper or something. There wasn't nothing there but a pile of plastic, and boy, I was all tore up. And I went in there and told that guy on the customs worker. I said, we got a little problem. He said, what's that? I said, you put an attack dog up in my truck, not a drug dog. He attacked my little Ralph and chewed him up. What are we going to do about this? I said he didn't cost much, but he's got a lot of sentimental value, you know. He said, well, it's your problem, pal. I can't do nothing about it. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I said, we're going to have to get something straightened out on this. He said, well, you better get on your way. So I said, well, I only got two words to say to you, buddy. And so I guess he started reaching for his handcuffs. I guess he thought I was going to cuss him or something. I said, doggone, and then I left. I got out of there, you know. And I don't want to go back, but I need to know what I could do about making him pay for my little Ralph, you know, cause he had a lot. I don't know if I ever get one of them dogs again or not. You know, he really reminded me of my childhood. You know, he had a lot of sentimental value.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about there, Bob, but I just let that all go and chalk that up to experience.
Well, okay, and I appreciate all your advice, and I'm gonna get off here and give me a bite to eat, I guess. And so I'll see you later. You take care now. We'll be talking to you later. This is Bob Stats. I appreciate all your advice.